It's been a couple of years since I quit flying helicopters, but the urge never fully left me. When I heard that Align came out with a new 470 size T-Rex, I got interested. I liked that they had gone to a belt drive for the tail rotor, but then noticed that they did something else. The airframe sits leaning forward on the skids, and that puts the tail up a little bit. And that keeps the tail rotor up out of the grass a little bit. The shaft and gear drive used to start spitting out teeth whenever it came close to the grass. This new angle on the belt drive has corrected all of that. And that's all it took to convince me, and I had a kit on its way. One of the reasons behind designing the 470 was to come up with a larger rotor disc. They decided on the 380mm blades that adds up to an 850mm disc. A larger rotor disc means a more stable flying helicopter. To control the larger blades, Align developed a 470 EFL rotor head. And as we've come to expect from Align, all the parts are nicely made and work very smoothly. Take your time with the initial setup and you get a very smooth running helicopter. Align increased the battery to a 6S 22.2 volt and usually an 1800 milliamp pack. Throughout the initial flights, this pack gave us plenty of flying time and lots of punch. To make changing batteries easier, Align developed a slide-in tray system. The battery is very secure when it clicks into place, then you lift the button and pull it out. This is a very nice battery system, and I like it a lot. To make sure we have plenty of power to drive those blades, Align developed this 1800 kV motor for the 470. Align also includes one of their 50 amp ESCs. I've always been partial to Castle ESCs, and I may go to one eventually just to see, but the Align version seems to be doing just fine. The tail rotor is typical Align in that it's all metal, has lots of bearings, and works very smoothly. I was really happy to see that they went to a cogged belt drive rather than that geared torque tube. The belt drive is very smooth and very forgiving if you happen to touch some of the grass with the tail rotor blades. Another nice feature is the slant tooth main gear. This tooth design is very smooth, very quiet, and very strong. To handle all this power, the 6mm main shaft is supported by 3 bearing blocks. They even added this cool looking brace on both sides that helps support the motor area and keeps it more rigid. The mainframe sides are 1.5mm thick and very tough. If you break one of these, something really big has just happened. A major factor in getting me to buy the Align 470LM is that it came with the MicroBeast Plus. I never liked the old Align flybarless system and always liked the B-Sticks. This is a very effective flight controller that's very easy to set up and tune. The canopy is traditional Align in that it's got nice lines, a great paint job, and it's pretty tough. I do think that I'm going to have to open up some bigger holes for getting some cooling air across the ESC and motor though. And the canopy is secured with these little rubber donuts. There's nothing fancy, just something that works. In all of the flights so far, the included Align servos appear to be very strong and very quick. I use a Spectrum FPV Racing serial satellite receiver with the MicroBeast, and it seems to be working perfect. It has all the range I need with a helicopter of this size. The Align swash plate system is very well made and very smooth. I like that they use real turnbuckles on the links, which makes them very easy to set up. I know the quad guys think they have this kind of flying out to themselves, but you never know. There just might be a new kid on the block here. The quads might have us on pure speed, but it takes real guts to fly an 850mm disc through one of the gates. Of course, I had to put my stunt pilot on the sticks for this, and you'll get to see him in just a little bit. My real point with this part of the video is that the Align 470 is a nice size and it handles very well, especially when the fingers on the sticks are not mine. This is Mike Basmajian. He's a friend of mine and a stunt pilot for this video. He's going to shake out the 470 a little bit. I need to point out that the Align 470LM is easier to see in person than it is on video. You certainly can't fly it out as far as you can with a 700, but you don't need to. The 470 is surprisingly nimble and turns quickly, so you don't need to go real far out to get it turned around. Which, of course, is exactly what I did on one of my first flights. One of the things that surprised me about the 470 is how quick it is, even if you're not really leaning on the collective. Of course, I trust Mike to shake out my new helicopter without doing anything stupid. Right around in here, things got a little borderline. I think the important thing here is that a brand new Align 470 felt comfortable enough to Mike that he went inverted and got it down nice and low. Of course, now that I know that the Align 470 flies very well, it's time for me to give it a try. Just be nice and remember that I haven't flown helicopters like this in a couple of years. I have hovered the 470 in my yard several times, but this is the first time I've actually tried forward flight. I know my hands were shaking a little bit. I never did crash it or get any really awkward situations. I figured that I'd just confine myself to flying some figure eights in front of me so I get used to turning both ways and get more comfortable with the controls. I was pleasantly surprised at how smooth the 470 is to fly. Any jerking around you see during this flight is all me. But when I'm reasonably smooth on the sticks, the Align 470 is very smooth in the air. I was also very happy to see that it doesn't have any bad tendencies on its own. The Micro Beast Plus is doing its job, and this is a very smooth helicopter to fly. To me, the Align 470 flies a lot closer to the 700 than it does to its old 450. So I'm looking forward when I can get to throwing this thing around in the sky a little bit, but for right now I just need to get my rotary head fingers back on. So if you're looking for a medium-sized helicopter with all the capabilities of the bigger ones, you need to look at the Align 470. This is their metal version. It replaces some plastic parts with machined aluminum, and I think that's a good choice. It costs a little more, but this thing is very durable. And with everything nice and stable, it just flies smoother as well. By the time I got to edit this video, I've gotten several more flights in on the Align 470, and I'm liking it more and more right along. This is a fun helicopter that does exactly what you tell it, and it's easy to fly with the Micro Beast Plus system.